What's up, everybody? Today we're going to answer a question from the Twitter. Kai Leaks asks, what is your suggestion for writers such as myself who write fantasy with people of color leads in gaining a broader reach? Fantastic question. We're going to talk about a bunch of different possibilities. I'm going to try to go through them quickly. Each one could probably be its own video, but because they should all be in one place, we're going to do like a brief summary of each one right now, right here, and just knock them out. Also, happy holidays. Thing number one, social media, the big one. Now, I know a lot of people probably roll their eyes. There's people that hate it, there's people that love it a little too much. There's all kinds of people in between. There is no one way. There's going to be lots of blog posts telling you this is how to be a writer on social media. Fuck that shit, okay? You have to be a human being. That's the only thing that you have to do. Don't be that robot that only spits out their, their links to their book over and over, blah, blah, blah. You have to interact with people. That's the whole joy of social media, is that it's a conversation. And this is an unprecedented time for writers in terms of how we have access to our readers and readers have access to us. That is scary sometimes and people go overboard with it, but in general it's a fantastic thing. It's an amazing thing and it's historical. We've never been in this time before without having people in between, filtering and editing us and telling us how to talk to people and all those other things. Right now, a writer can go onto Twitter and reach thousands of people. That's never happened before. Take advantage of it. Now, Twitter might not be your thing. That's okay. Facebook might be your thing. You're weird, but that's okay too. Tumblr might be your thing. You're cooler than me. Anyway, whatever it is, find your thing and do it. And then you should still have accounts on the other things because some of us like those things better, whatever, etc. But make one thing your main platform and then roll with it. Find your voice on it, make your friends with it, interact, do your thing. So I have a Tumblr that I'm not very good at using, but I still post up links on there because other people still follow me for whatever reason. So take advantage of all the different platforms that there are. Doesn't mean that you have to spend hours a day on each one. No, there's no rule that says you have to update every time you eat breakfast, like certain, elders among us will tell us, I don't want to know what you ate for breakfast. That's fine. Don't tweet about that. Nobody cares. Tweet about what matters to you. Be interesting. Have a good time. That's it. It's not that complicated. Enjoy yourself and be a human being. Those are the rules. As much as possible, link your accounts so that people can find you across different platforms. If someone stumbles upon you on Tumblr, but they don't use Tumblr that much either, they can just jump over to your YouTube page or whatever it is that they like. So have everything kind of connected. Centralize it with your website, which you should have, even if it's not fancy, not a lot of bells and whistles, but a simple site that connects everything. Boom, have that so that we can find out more about you if we need to. You shouldn't be hard to find as a writer in the world. The days of J.D. Salinger hiding in a little cabin are over. Sorry. That doesn't mean that you have to tell everybody everything about your life. Again, nobody cares what you ate for breakfast. You have to find that balance that you're comfortable with and regulate it yourself. That's your job. Boom. Number two, short stories. A lot of writers hate writing short stories for whatever reason, and that's fine. I respect that. But they are very useful for a number of reasons. First of all, they get yourself out there, which is the question of platform that we're addressing today. You become a member of the community in a whole new way when you start to publish short stories, put them out into the world, put them on your social networks, and then people interact with them and get excited about them or don't or whatever, but you're part of the conversation in a way that happens much faster than when you write a novel, which takes literally years, sometimes many years, sometimes decades to get out into the world. Even if you're a fast writer, publishing is slow. So you're not going to be just spitting out novels left and right, but you can write short stories and post them on platforms, even if you're not publishing them. For whatever reason, there's platforms now that you can post them on without having to worry about your shit getting stolen. Take advantage of that. Those are really cool platforms too, like
Wattpad.
Where they're also social and you can be interacting with other writers and other readers, and it's a fantastic way to gain momentum in your career and have a platform. But you can also publish them and get paid. Woo! Yes! Get yourself paid. Sometimes you can get paid small amounts, and that's still really great because getting paid for writing is an amazing feeling, even when it's not a lot of money. Do that. There's lots of short story markets. Specifically, the question was around speculative fiction and characters of color. I can say that Tor.com is fantastic for that and has a great record and pays really well. Strange Horizons has done good work with that. So there's spots out there to look at. Apex is another one. So ask people, see where people are publishing and then submit, and then get rejected, and then submit a lot more. Keep a folder or a spreadsheet. Keep a spreadsheet of your submissions so you can keep track of things, and don't get despondent and sad about each rejection. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but don't let them stop you. As I've said many times, Shadow Shaper was rejected 40 times by agents, and now it's doing fine. My short stories get rejected all the time. It's a normal part of the process. It hurts, but it's how you grow. So move forward, keep sending them, and you will get published. And again, there's spots where you can put your work, even if it's not getting accepted, and send it out into the wider community. Short stories, do it. Other thing about short stories, it does improve your craft in ways that novel writing won't. And it'll make you a better novelist. So even if it's not something that you feel drawn towards or you feel natural about writing, it will get you to be better in the long form too. It gets you crisper, it gets you to streamline things in an interesting way, it gets you to think deeply about how to get your information out there. All this stuff happens when you write short stories. It's a great exercise, if nothing else. Do it. 3, write essays. Just like with short stories, there's a lot of different ways to put them out there into the world. Probably many, many more, actually. You can post them on your blog. You can guest post them on other people's blogs. You can publish them in one of the millions of, thought, think, PC, Majini type spots that are out there right now. Some of them pay a lot, some of them don't pay at all. I would recommend not going to a spot that has a lot of money and the ability to pay but doesn't, because that's shady. There's a lot of options is what I'm trying to say. And what's fantastic about it is that you can really put yourself out there in a way that even with short stories you often can. Because what happens with essays is that they generate a lot of conversation, depending on what you're talking about. But a lot of times they will get people talking and they will get people interacting with you, and that's what you want. It puts you out there and it attracts people to you, hopefully, that are interested and agree with you and think in a way that you think. So that's what I've used essays for personally. Yes, it also attracts the wrong kind of people, but that's what the block button is for. Use it. Be clear about your boundaries, again, just like with anything with social media. But I've found that it's helpful to really put down my opinions and my ideas about what I think is going on, whether it's in sci-fi or the world at large or whatever, and express myself as clearly and as loudly as I can. Because I found that when I do that, people who are like-minded and who want to have that conversation, even if they disagree but want to be in conversation about these topics, we'll come over and we'll get into a dialogue, and that can be a really good thing. Can be, not always. It depends. I think more people have found my fantasy books through my non-fiction writing than anywhere else, except for maybe Twitter. Long and short of it is, a lot of magazines will have a bigger reach than you do, and it's worth taking advantage of that. Which doesn't mean letting them take advantage of you. Again, don't write for free for places that can afford to pay you. 4 is about your physical presence in the world. So that covers doing readings, showing up at conferences, maybe being on panels, all of those things, which yes, you can do before you have a book out, but probably can't really do much of until you have some short stories or essays out in the world, because that's how you let people know who you are and what you're about, and that what you have to say matters. Otherwise, how will they know? There's exceptions to that, of course, but mainly that's where we're at. So get yourself out there on the web and in publications and however you can, and then see about which conferences are the right ones to go to. There's a lot of different conferences. I'm talking specifically in the sci-fi world, in the fantasy world. There's the huge ones like Comic-Con, which I personally love, and then there's lots of different sizes all in between. WizCon is one that happens in Wisconsin that has a feminist point of view. Arisia happens in Boston. There's a whole slew of them. ReaderCon is a very intellectual kind of conference where people aren't allowed to dress up, sadly. All that to say, there's different kinds of conferences, and you want to look around and see which one fits with what you want to do. And also see where people are going, because that really does matter as far as your experience. See where your friends are going. See where writers that you admire are going. See where people of color are going, because a lot of those cons are very, very white. And you want to find out where you're going to feel safe. Where does it make sense for you to be at? Or maybe you don't care about that and you just want to show up and change the game, which is also a way to do it. Either way, do some homework, take a look at the different conferences that are out there and decide if one of them is right for you, and then see if it's possible for you to appear on a panel or even just go. The main through line of all of this stuff is, as much as we talk about platform, what we're really talking about is, are you taking part in the community? Are you taking part in the community-wide conversation that's happening around fantasy and sci-fi and genre, and it's a conversation that's about literature, and it's also about politics and about race and gender, all these complicated things, ability and ableism, that need to be discussed and that sometimes aren't discussed at all. And we're bringing this conversation to the table. How are you taking part? How are you being a part of this world that we're creating as we write and as we live and as we participate? So that includes readings too. A lot of times there's small, reading series that happen in different cities. Find out about them. And they might not be genre reading series. How's the plural of series? Series-I. But a lot of times those literary folks are really excited when some genre people show up in the midst and actually bring some plot and stuff in. So get out there. Get yourself out there. Find spaces that you're comfortable in. Do your homework, but also it's good to sometimes go there and find out yourself, maybe with a buddy. Put yourself out there, know when to stop putting yourself out there, and take breaks and step away, and enjoy yourself. It shouldn't be torture. There's some way for you to put yourself out there creatively. Use the part of your brain that loves writing and telling stories and thinking about plots, and put that towards strategizing how to be in the world as a writer, so that it doesn't become just a monotonous exercise in PR or advertising or something, but really a creative endeavor, and it should be fun. Now, this list does not mean that you have to do all of these things. You don't even have to do any of these things. This is a list of suggestions. So find the ones that work for you, do them, stop doing them. The main, most important thing is that you feel safe and are safe. Fandom and the internet and lots of these places can be scary and creepy and not feel comfortable and not be comfortable or safe. You have to figure out how to make yourself safe, whether that means, like I said, going with a group of friends or doing your research beforehand, especially for women of color, especially for black women, for non-men in general. It's hard to find safe spaces. The thing to do is to look for them and do your best and know when to step out when you need to for your own mental safety and comfort. If you have any further questions, or if you want me to expand on something that I said, or if you want to ask me about something else that this reminded you of, tweet me or put it in the comment section. Sometimes I miss tweets, so you're probably better off putting it in the comment section, and I will do my best to answer you. See you next week. What?
That's it. I started filming.
Oh shit.
Tell me, what's your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
You didn't have to think about it, did you? You're doing a whole lot.
Ready?
Yeah.
Hey everybody, today. Started out so strong. Happy holidays, motherfuckers.